Howdy Bulldogs, this is your second video for today. There's not an assignment to go with this one, but I want you to follow along with the PowerPoint because it is leading us into tomorrow's lesson, and we will have a reading assignment tomorrow over what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go to the PowerPoint. Here we are at Unit 1, Week 1, Lesson 2, Reading. And our learning goal is to learn more about narrative nonfiction and read a text that helps understand the author's purpose in an autobiography. Narrative nonfiction is informational text that tells a story about real people and events. It includes a purpose or the author's reason for writing it, descriptive detail about real people and events, chronological or time order and structure. This week we'll be reading an autobiography, which is a true story about the author's own life. We'll also be talking about narrative nonfiction. It tells a story about real people. People in narrative nonfictions grow and change, like characters in a fictional narrative or story. When you read narrative nonfiction, look for names of real people and descriptions of real events. Look for dates and other clues about when and in which order events took place. Think about the descriptive details in the text. Why did the author include those facts? So the chart you see is your page 17 in your My View book. It's the narrative nonfiction anchor chart. You can think about a story you've read about a real person or event. How did you know it was a narrative nonfiction story? Were there dates? Were there quotes from that person? Was it an autobiography or a biography, a diary or a journal? Could have been an interview like you see in magazines. I'm going to read a selection called Sally Ride. This is not in your books. It is a narrative nonfiction. That picture you see on the right, it's Sally Ride. She was an astronaut. So I'm going to have you listen actively as I read this title, Sally Ride. Listen for elements of narrative nonfiction. Try to notice if the text has descriptive details about real people, places, and events. See if the author includes dates so that you as a reader know when these events happen. The first woman to travel in space were Russian cosmonauts. The first American woman was Sally Ride. Sally Ride was born May 26, 1951 in Los Angeles, California. She went to an all-girls high school. She was very good at sports and might have become a professional tennis player, but she loved science too. In college, she earned a degree in English as well as one in physics. She concentrated on the science of physics in graduate school. Physics is the study of matter and energy and how they interact. In 1977, just before she finished graduate school, Sally saw an advertisement in her school newspaper. NASA was looking for people who wanted to become astronauts. It was the first time that women were invited to apply to NASA's astronaut program. Sally had never considered this as a career for herself, but when she saw the ad, she instantly realized that was what she wanted to do and applied to the program. Sally was one of 1,000 women and 7,000 men to apply. These thousands of hopefuls were competing for only 35 available jobs. Sally was one of 6 women chosen to join the Corps of Astronauts in 1978. Sally trained at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. She worked on the ground as a mission control communications officer. She also helped to develop a robotic arm that could be used on the space shuttle to release and receive satellites. After 5 years, Sally finally got her chance to go into outer space. She was chosen to be part of the crew for the Challenger STS-7 mission. Astronauts have jobs on each mission. Some astronauts are pilots, others are mission specialists. A mission specialist has a specific job necessary to accomplish a goal of the mission. Sally's job included using the robotic arm to help release satellites into space. She was also going on spacewalks and doing science experiments in space. Reporters were not too interested in her job, though. When the press interviewed Sally, they wanted to know things like whether the first American woman in space would be wearing makeup. Sally flew on the space shuttle again in 1984 and retired from NASA in 1987. After she left NASA, Sally taught science at the college level. She also looked for new ways to get young people, especially girls, interested in science. She came up with the idea for NASA's EarthCam project, which enabled middle school students to use the camera on the International Space Station. Students could shoot, download, and study photos of Earth. All right, that is our narrative nonfiction over Sally Ride. So it's an example of what we will be doing throughout this unit over autobiographies and narrative nonfiction. You do not have an assignment to go along with this video. This one's just leading us into tomorrow's lesson. Thank you.